Welcome to day 2 of our Sudowrite for Beginners 7-day series. Yesterday we covered creating a premise. We looked at ways to brainstorm with the Brainstorm feature, using Brain Dump, Quick Chat, and First Draft. So we'll briefly go over that again. And today's focus is going to be on refining that story premise. Whatever the final premise is that you chose, I'm going to show you some ways to work with that. We're going to do Brain Dump and Synopsis, get those filled out, work on creating your customized character templates, and generate some characters. There will be a Q&A after the recording stops, so when I say, hey, I'm stopping the recording, goodbye, that does not mean you have to hop off. I will still be hanging around to answer everybody's questions after the recording. Right, so yesterday we did the brainstorm, and you had a little bit of homework. Now, if you went to do this homework and you're like, hold up, teacher did not teach this, you are correct. So extra kudos if y'all did this anyways. But it was about finding your preferred settings and your theme. So we are going to look at that real quick. If you'll notice over here, we should have also discussed our community resources. I did not discuss those, but they were linked down here. I know some of y'all found them because I actually approved requests to join the Facebook groups. So we're going to briefly look at these real quick. This FAQ, this documentation, is great because you can go here. Of course, you can read through everything, but also you can ask the AI questions. Now, this is not infallible, okay? But they do try to keep it as up-to-date as possible. So what is the synopsis for? You can ask it pretty much any questions. Again, some of them it won't know or won't be accurate, but for the most part, it is on point. So the synopsis in Sudowrite used to establish the characters, goals, central conflicts. And it tells you, oh, good job. So it tells you that it influences the generation of characters, world building, outline, and beats, which it does. And beats now scenes if you've updated. All right, so that's a way to use that documentation. Very helpful. We have our Discord server. Click that. It should prompt you to sign in if you already have a Discord account. I prefer to use the app so I don't have to keep signing in. So this is our Discord server right here. And you'll see all of this on the left. That's your different channels, okay? You won't have access to all of these. But when you come in and join for the first time, you're going to have some channels here that you can select. So if you write in mystery, select this one so you can have access to that private channel right there. Otherwise, you will not see these various genre channels. And they're great for talking with your fellow authors in that genre. We also have multilingual channels. Manon and Dahlia pretty much spearhead those. So if you ever need language support, those two are your go-to for help. But we also have some other experienced users that constantly chime in and help with tips and everything. So do make sure you check these as appropriate. You can see the events here. It'll tell you what's coming up for the week for classes, so you can click to go to and register. And the important one here, actually there's two important ones, the announcements channel. So this is one of the ways that you can stay up to date. Scroll through here, they'll talk about any bug fixes, releases, any betas that are out, that are open to applications. They'll put that information here. So this is the best way to kind of stay on top of things, the announcements channel. If you need help, you have two options. The support channel here, I can come here and open a ticket and let them know what my issue is. This is especially helpful if it isn't a Sudowrite program specific question, but rather you need account help, like a billing issue or a question about that. Open that ticket here in the support channel. And I'm just going to go over these top three because I think they're the most helpful and they're the ones everybody has access to. So this Sudowrite General, it's just what it says. General talk about Sudowrite, okay? People talk about issues, share tips, just have back and forth conversations. This help channel, we do try to keep it clear for people really needing help, just like it says. You're having an issue, hey, help me figure out how to do this, what's wrong, things like that. Might be times that you get a response from somebody and they say, hey, go open a ticket here because it's just beyond our control. And lastly, the course videos channel. So this is where all of the recorded classes go, all of them. As long as they're recorded, they end up here. Only some of them end up on the YouTube channel for right now. So you can come to this course videos channel and you can actually search up things. One class that I will recommend everybody look at, it's called, here we go. But type in whatever you want. If you wanted to talk about, well, again, beats is going away, but if you want to look at beats, type in beats, style, genre, whatever you need. There is this class by Stacy. I'm going to link it in chat. I do recommend, now these are more advanced tips in here, but they are so good. I highly recommend y'all taking the time, maybe after this week, when you've absorbed all this basic information, take a look at that video. I think it's going to help a lot of you. And I believe that is it for the Discord. We also have Facebook groups. They are not as active as the Discord, okay? But I understand Discord is not for everyone. Some people just can't get used to it or don't like it. We do have a couple of Facebook groups. Why are there two? Because this is the one we started. And then the owner of the bigger group passed ownership over to Sudowrite themselves. So now we kind of have two. So they're not as active, but if you prefer Facebook, please join us. You're welcome, of course. And there's classes for you to register for thing linked down here. So you do not need this document to find the majority of this. If you go inside Sudowrite, this is the stuff I forgot to cover yesterday, this top right corner, and it doesn't matter if you are on the home screen or inside a project, they do the same thing. The gear icon. This is where you're going to see how many credits you have left. You notice I get a pop-up when I hover over mine. You will not have that unless you have bought a credit pack, okay? So don't say, hey, Nicole had a pop-up. I don't. That only happens once you buy a credit pack, because credit packs do not expire. They stay in your account until you use them. So that pop-up helps you know what was purchased as a credit pack and does not expire at all versus what does expire. So for those credit packs where it says buy more credits, click that and you can purchase them. Unless something has changed, your pricing may be different or your options may be different. I am on the max plan, and last I heard, but this was a year or two ago, that the packages were different. So just be aware of that. But that is how you buy more credits, and again, they do not expire. This show recent activity, that's what you were seeing me pop open yesterday, so you can kind of look and see what a feature was costing you. Manage membership, you could come in here and you can change up your plan, or you can pause or cancel right here. You can change up your billing, your information. Deleted projects. So if I decide I don't want this project, I can delete it, come back to this gear icon, click deleted projects. Wait, I didn't mean to, or I need to grab something from that. Click it again and restore it. Alternatively, you could permanently delete. Take this verbatim, okay? Permanently delete. I do not recommend deleting stuff until you have it published and you don't think you need it at all anymore. And I would even wait for a couple of months before deleting, okay? Just to be sure. But if you're like me, you also have backups everywhere else. But just be careful with this. When you permanently delete here, they cannot restore it. Exit out right here, and you're back on your screen. That tour, you should have seen that the very first time you went inside Sudowrite. You can always click it again just to kind of walk through and click this in tour. And then the main thing is you can go through, pick whatever fonts you want right here. You can change the text size, your line spacing, and you can have some themes. So you can go light, watch your eyes. You can do charcoal, cauldron, aurora, play with all of these, see which ones you like, or you can have this automatic dark mode. So it is going to do just like it says. It is going to follow your computer system. So if your computer system is set to light mode, it's going to go into sorbet. If your computer system is set for dark mode, it's going to go into charcoal. It will alternate those, and that's handy for if you're one of those who has a timer set in your system so where it's light for part of the day, dark for the other part. This will follow suit, so you don't have to keep changing it. And just play around with these settings. So that was actually part of the homework last night, to find your preferred font and your theme. Kudos to those of you who still accomplished that, even though the teacher failed to show you. All of those resources, the question mark. Pop that open, you have a link to the Discord, a link to their YouTube, those live classes. So I'll bring it up right here. You can just go register for whatever you want. And we were talking about this earlier, so I am going to point it out. You may have heard a lot about Muse. This is Sudowrite's model, and it is releasing very soon. So I highly recommend joining this class right here on March 6th, this Thursday. This one will be hosted by Ryan Mather. He is part of the team. He will be able to answer your technical questions and show you how to use it. There are some other teachers teaching a couple more, so just look for this icon. I'm sure they will all be showing you different ways that they like to use it, so it's worth the time investment to actually attend those and see how they work with the program. Suggest a feature. This one's great to do just what it says. You can also go here and upvote things. So if you're like, I wish Sudowrite did this, you can make that suggestion. Other people can upvote. You can do a search and see if somebody's already made a suggestion about something and upvote it yourself, whatever you want. Report a bug is very handy. So if you are in this project and hey, something's not working right, my text is getting cut off, whatever happens, my stuff didn't generate like it was supposed to, but I was charged. Click this report a bug feature inside that project. It's going to open this form. Be as specific as you can right here, because what they rely on for the first step of fixing a bug is to be able to replicate that issue, okay? So tell them what you were doing, what feature you were using, what happened. If you can attach a screenshot or a short video, that would be helpful too. And then just send that information. And then, of course, the usual email and stuff. All right, so that gets us caught up on the resources and everything. Please check those out, find your settings and your theme. I know we have some people who were not here yesterday. Excuse me, I need a sip of water. I know we had some people who were not here yesterday. I am going to get on my soapbox for just a minute here. I know you're eager to start on that story, that novel that's been in your head. You came here because you want to write it, correct? Hold off on that. Put it aside. It's okay if you already started that project. Please start a new project and follow along with us, starting with what we do today. Doing this new project from scratch, something you don't have a lot of ideas in your head for, is really going to help you to learn. You're going to feel comfortable with making changes on the fly, seeing how different instructions and all that affect the output. That way you don't have to worry about messing up your other story that you have all those concrete ideas for. All right, so let's look at what we did yesterday. We're going to start refining that story premise, fill out our brain dump synopsis, and create our characters. So we're going to look at the homework is going to be customizing your character card template, creating your characters, and editing. Something to keep in mind, no matter what you see, we're limited here in the class time, and I've wasted almost half of it talking. We're limited in the class time, so you don't always see us do a bunch of edits. but I can promise you, I know I spend at least 30 minutes per box editing what the AI gives me to make it fit my voice and my ideas. So do not take that for granted. When the AI generates something, you go behind it and you adjust everything to your liking. A quick recap. We use the Brainstorm feature, first draft, quick chat, and brain dump to generate some story ideas. And your part of your homework was to decide what premise you wanted, whether it was one of these or another premise you made up. So if I'm working with the AI and I'm asking it for a premise, I just want to show you kind of what I do to start refining that premise. So I took a couple, this is basically copied all of those story premises. I deleted what I definitely didn't like, and I started reading through. So when it came to this one right here, as I read it, I started thinking, okay, I can make this a shifter romance, maybe dystopian or romantic suspense. And there was another story underneath this one from the fairy tale retelling prompt. And I really liked this line, and that's what made me think this would work for a dystopian right here. So I could take that line, put it with this story. Scroll down a little bit more while I was reading this one, I kind of thought, I think I could actually combine this to make these two stories one. So I started putting little notes in here. This is how I work with the AI again, if I'm asking it for premises and just going back and forth. Now, I may end up working like this for 10, 15 minutes and decide, you know what, this story just isn't going to work for me. It doesn't excite me, whatever. But that's kind of what I would do. And then the next step, you have two options I'm going to show you. So this is 870 words. I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to show you the part that will cost credits and the part that won't cost credits. So I could take all of that. Granted, we're pretending here, so we're going to pretend I went through and did more adjustments, maybe put some instructions in here, like help me refine this or something. I'm just going to do that. So what I would also do is, right now, these are two very disconnected stories, right? So I would actually need to go through, make my changes, make it so that this character here, this female character is the same female character here. Otherwise, the AI is going to get confused, make both of them, and I'm not going to waste our time going through to do all those changes. So you're probably going to see that happen in a minute. But I would go through and make this more seamless, okay? Again, adding in any ideas and stuff that I have. Let me delete this. All right, so again, this is the part that's going to cost credits. Go through, add in your own ideas, make changes, adjust to make that as seamless as possible, and then I can generate a synopsis. Let's see if it did in fact make our two. Unknown to Red, she is. Okay, so it actually looked like it showed off its intelligence right here, unless I'm misunderstanding this sentence. It is actually saying, yes, Red is Elara. So it looks like it did good. So this cost credits, let's see, 2,600. There was also a question about credits. I'm going to save that for at the end of the class because it's a very complicated topic and I want to make sure I get all of the questions answered. But somebody please remind me so we can talk about that more after the recording. All right, so what I would do, again, I'm talking about stories I have no idea for yet. You know, nothing's really set in my head. I'm just going to copy this into Brain Dump. And if you'll notice, I left the original Brain Dump up here. So I can actually make some more room for separation or make a little note. I leave the original up here in case I need to reference anything. So I would go through this synopsis again. What did we say? Edit everything. I would go through. Maybe I don't like character names. I want to change it. Maybe I don't like locations or a plot point. I don't want this person to be the bad guy, or I don't want this person to be the good guy. Whatever ideas you have, I would go through here, make all of those adjustments, add in any additional details, make sure if there's something up here in the original that the synopsis did not pull in, I would reference it that. And then I actually generate a second synopsis. I'm not going to do that since we didn't make any changes. But that's one way for me to start building up ideas in my head. For those stories where I know what I want to happen, Brain Dump has a limit of 2,000 words, okay? 2,000 word limit here. A lot of people say, I can't fit all of my story information. You don't need to. Brain Dump is only affecting synopsis mostly. It says beats, which that would be scenes. I can tell you from my perspective, I've never seen it pull heavily into beats or scenes. So I would not worry about that. For the most part, Brain Dump is a way for you to put all of your thoughts about the story. You generate synopsis and it makes sense of everything for you. So what I do for those stories where I have a lot of details in my head, I know how I want it to play out, I simply put the main plot points. I don't put every little detail. I do that elsewhere. There are other steps before I write the prose where I can put all of those details. It doesn't need to know everything about my character in Brain Dump because I can put that in my character cards. It doesn't need to know everything about my magic system here because I can put that in my world building. It doesn't need to know how that climax is going to happen. Sorry, I just realized that went like in two completely different genres. Um, it doesn't need to know how the battle is going to happen, okay? It just needs to know, hey, this side and this side's going to fight and this side's going to win. That's it. Otherwise, I could put all of those details elsewhere before it starts writing that chapter. So keep it simple here. Just cover your main plot points and make sure they're in order. I also like to get specific. Elsewhere, you'll hear us say, make sure to remove pronouns. Don't use vague wording like man, woman, the group, the team, things like that. I try to keep that in mind when I'm doing all of my boxes and I get specific. I name my characters, I name my settings, all of that so there's no confusion. There was one thing I wanted to cover that I was thinking of and I forgot it already. Oh, something you can use. I have a plugin called Scene by Scene Outline. Here, I'll link it. Let me find it real quick. So I have this plugin right here, or there's the section. You can just type in that scene by scene, make sure you put the hyphens in there. Here, I can do this. So this scene by scene outline, what it does is it actually reads all of your brain dump information. So let's say you filled it out, you maxed out that box, and you're like, I just need to add a few hundred more words to it. It will read your brain dump and it will break it down into a very simplistic sentence by sentence structure. Here's that link. There you go. So it'll break things down. It won't have all of this stuff, okay? It's just going to have Red goes to uncover the truth about her grandmother's mysterious death. She discovers a sinister plot by the ruling class. It is going to be very simple, but it will still have those details that you need. It's just not going to have that fluff wording there, okay? So using that plugin will allow you to put more words into the brain dump. So the free way to do it, and we're actually going to start working on this premise that I chose. And in case anybody else wants it, this actually wasn't part of the ones we generated yesterday. It was just an idea I had. So I thought we'd play with this one. Use this premise, use one of the others, use whatever you want. This is just the one I'm going to work with this week. All right, so the free way to work with this is using Quick Chat. So I'm just going to highlight this, click Quick Chat, and I'm going to ask it, give me some backstory. Why did the aliens invade Earth? How did the battle play out? And how do they inhabit our bodies? Keep it at that right now. There's still lots more to cover. So this is like working with ChatGPT. I can start fleshing out these ideas. And again, remember, this doesn't have a save or history right now. So what I would do is copy all of this, put it in this document, or sometimes I will usually have a document over here called Quick Chat. And I would paste it here. This is very helpful so it's not messing up a document that you've been editing in and have everything pretty much perfect for how your story is going to go. So I would put that in here. Get rid of what I don't like. Keep what I like. It does look like it. Did the double copy again. So go through here. So we have our backstory. Again, do I like this? Maybe I don't like it. Maybe I want to work with Quick Chat in this little section right here. Can delve into that. And if you come over, look at our recent credit history, you'll see that did not cost anything because I had the higher quality mode toggled off. And it still did not do bad. We still got well over 200 words and things I can go through. Again, I would start working in sections at this point. Make your manual adjustments first so it stays more on track, in line with your vision, and start working that way. One other is, we're not going to do it because we covered first draft yesterday, but this one would be a great one to use for first draft. Go in there, copy this, and ask it those same things. All right, I'm just going to leave it here, but let me sound like a broken record and say it one more time. If I was doing this, I would be making a lot of edits, okay? So we'll just pretend I made all of those edits. And now I have all of my information. I do like to max out my boxes. So in an ideal world, I would have this pretty much maxed out with all of my details. And I would generate the synopsis. But first, there's a couple of other things you can look at. You have two ways to proceed from here. And this is where things really start diverging and why I encourage you to attend the classes with other teachers. We all have different ways of doing things. I try to show you multiple ways to do stuff so you can try one. And if that doesn't work, you have a backup to go to. But I'm also set in my ways. I know the workflow that works for me, and that's what I tend to lean to. So starting at around this point or a little bit before, when you start fleshing things out, it really depends on what kind of writer you are and how you want to use this program. So you see right here, I don't have any main characters, right? I have an option. When I get to my characters, I can just let it generate whoever for there. I do have instruction boxes I can use when I get to characters and guide it a little bit, or I can keep working, doing my own manual edits, adding in any character ideas that I have for people, or keep working with Quick Chat or First Draft. So I'm going to copy this. And because I like First Draft so much, I'm actually just going to go to here. Remember, you have to be in a blank document to use First Draft. Otherwise, it will not be here. And I'm going to tell it to give me a detailed character sheet, each of the main characters, including any protagonist and antagonist. Include a backstory for each. Also give me any other, I'm going to leave this one vague. Also give me any other story information to help flesh out this premise. I'm going to remove the word story because I have a feeling that is what causes it to start generating prose a lot. I'm going to copy in what I had in Brain Dump. And then I'm going to do that prompt. Avoid writing prose. You're only giving ideas. So just copied that information out. And I'm really only doing it this way mostly to have something to flesh out for y'all. But this is a great one to get ideas for. If I'm stumped, I have no clue what I want, who I want, no clue how to make that character kind of come alive, this would be my go-to. Are there any questions while we wait? Curious how long it's going to go. Oh, we got the hive. Okay. Isn't that from Alien or Predator? I don't know. I'm not a sci-fi person. So we got the hive. Okay, another alien here. Human, another alien. All right, so there's like actually a pretty decent balance between humans and aliens here. So again, edit to your liking. And I'm just going to drop this into Brain Dump. And we're pretending that Nicole went and did all this on her own and she made it perfect and it's beautiful and we're going to move on. We are actually not going to cover genre and style today. Let me see when that happens. We're going to focus more on that in day 5. Okay. So I am skipping that for right now. Generate my synopsis with all of that. Make any edits I need. I can edit right here in this box. I don't need it copied anywhere else. That's just usually my preferred method. Because this one is like limited to 800 words. So you can see here it is actually deleting. We had that little bug before. So again, edit all of this to your liking. And we're going to jump down to characters. So you have the generate all characters. This is so you can generate the entire cast at once. And yes, this is usually what I use. Or you can do a single character at a time. Okay. This is especially good for, let's say you did generate your cast and you're like, you know what? It's lacking something. I could come back in, generate character and say, hey, give me a quirky sidekick or I don't know, a mad scientist who's, or yeah, something along those lines, whatever you want. If you want it to be some kind of niche archetype character, you could put that in here. This box, do not let that size fool you. It actually holds 1,000 or 2,000 words. I know I've put 900 words in here before. It worked great. What I did, and this is another way to use this box, is when I generated chapter prose for one of my stories, it actually created a new character in that prose, and I loved the idea of that character. So I copied that section of prose, brought it over here and said, hey, create this character for me. But before we generate, we actually want to customize our character template. This is linked in the document, but I'm going to link it separately. These are just ideas, y'all, okay? This is not anything you have to use, but if you want some ideas for character traits, go through these. Settings ideas. I love my town template, not gonna lie, use it all the time. Check all of these out, see which ones you like. The world building brainstormer, love this one. I hope I get to show it off tomorrow. But just look through these and see what you like and want to use. You don't have to use any of them. All right, so first thing I want to do is customize my template. This is going to pain me, but you know what? Yeah, we're just going to do it. Oh, the sacrifices I make. So when you first open this, if you have not adjusted anything, it is going to give you, I think, 4 default traits like physical description, background, dialogue, style, and I think something else. So you can keep those, you can rename them, or you can delete them like I did. And then you can come in here and add your own traits. And you're going to want to look at your template. We have requested being able to create multiple templates, but for right now, we only have this one. So whatever template you create here gets applied to all your stories. So if you're writing in different genres and you need to tweak something, you want to make sure you come in here and customize whatever you need to before you start generating your characters, okay? So in this instance, I'm going to have species, physical description, I want to put this with species. Each of these can hold 300 characters. I'm going to say, which side do they fight on? And I'm going to specify humans or aliens. So obviously you could do a whole lot here. And I'm just going to do one more. So I love dialogue style. And I'm asking for a sample line of dialogue too. So I'm going to keep it simple, but you saw my screen earlier. Normally I like to have a lot of traits right here. And obviously there's so many more things that you can do, but I'm going to go ahead and save these new defaults. So again, each of those character traits can hold up to 300 characters. I'm going to go ahead and start generating the cast because this does take a while. So in this spreadsheet that I linked, for instance, I'm just going to open this one because this is what I had prior. So you'll see I did not just keep all of it simple like I did in that box. There's some that looks like this. Again, 300 characters. So those trait names, the field names, they actually act as instructions to the AI, okay? So you're telling it, oh, I don't just want a physical description. I want to know the age and the facial and body descriptions, unique features, all of that, which would have been freaking awesome if I had remembered to grab it. So keep that in mind. You can get pretty hefty with your instructions right here. You'll see this is one that's a work in progress and you see how thick all of these are. So play around, see what you like and what works best for you. I do highly recommend that line of dialogue. So in here, I asked it to give me a sample line of dialogue and you see it did. This is great for helping your characters sound different. Otherwise, when you don't have this, even though you might still have how that character actually speaks, I find it does not carry over as well and they all tend to sound alike. But if I put that line of dialogue in here, it helps distinguish them. Now, this is actually one of the first things I do. So after I generate my characters, I immediately go to what did it give me for the line of dialogue sample. If I don't like it, I change it. If I have a specific line in mind, I put that here instead. But let's say you have no clue. You don't know how you want your characters to talk. This is why it's great to have a quick chat document. So I'm just going to come here. I don't need to highlight anything. Quick chat does see all of your information. Let me link that again, just because I know it's somewhere in that document, but I don't want to have to track it down for y'all. Rather, I don't want y'all to have to wait for me to track it down. This document here tells you everything that the quick tools, quick chat and quick edit look at, okay? So read over that when you can. But I would come in here because one of the things quick chat looks at is characters. It looks at all of your characters, not just those you name. If you want to focus on certain characters, you can name them definitely, but it does look at all of your characters. So I'm going to tell Quick Chat after I pull it up, Command K on PC, Control K on PC, Command K on Mac. Click over to Quick Chat, and I'm going to tell it, give me a conversation between all of my characters, showing how each one might speak. Now, there's a very good chance it's just going to pull those current lines of dialogue. I actually should delete them first, especially if I don't like them. But here's that prompt. And it's going to give me that sample conversation. And I didn't read what the other ones in the box were, but from just glancing, it looks like it didn't match them up. So again, delete that line of dialogue. But what I would do is I would follow this up. I would stay here in this chat and say, I'm not actually going to wait and do it too much, but I'm just reading them real quick. Make Max speak in short. He uses few words. Make Zara sound, let's just make Zara sarcastic. So I can start going through and giving it instructions for how I want characters to speak. If I have no idea how I want those characters to speak, I can just say, I don't like this. They all sound the same. Make them sound different. And I would just go back and forth until I like the lines that it gives me. Or it may even get one close and I'll be like, okay, this is close, but give me 3 more suggestions that are unique. And I'll pick what I like and put that in the dialog box. So that's how you start refining your characters there. Let me make sure I am not missing anything today. All right, we covered it all. Look at that. Right, so let's look and see what it did. Because remember I said one of the first things you need to do after AI generates everything is go in and make changes, right? So I would start looking through here. What do I need to change? If I didn't like, you want to get rid of that piercing, striking, piercing, anything like that, get rid of it. Otherwise, the AI will use it. But I can also rewrite it. Hey, I want her to have blonde hair. I mean, that's too simple. You're better off just making that change. Let's do that character we were talking about. So I'm going to come over here, generate a character. Let's see what it does for us. For these characters right here, this name or any names that you put in this other names box is how you guide the AI to say, hey, I want you to look at this character card right here and pull details from it. If you're not mentoring her, you're just saying the doctor, and you don't have the doctor written right there in the other names. Oops. You don't have the doctor written right there in the other names. It's probably going to make up a character. So you do need to reference either by name here or some name that you have, a nickname or whatever in this other box. Tells the AI, go look at this card. Oh, I see this is a human. I see this is a Zoraxian. That's how it knows to go grab those cards. Same things for world building. There is this drop down. I'll be honest, I don't ever really use this. The only time I really use it is if a character is deceased. You can type, it doesn't look like you can. I don't know if you can see my cursor blinking, but you can type in this field and create whatever you want to. Okay, so you're not limited to just this list. Like I said, I don't really use it. If you want to hide a character, for whatever reason you're having trouble, the AI keeps bringing this character in, they're not supposed to be there, you can select this never. It's going to hide that character. if you just want to hide a trait, say, okay, it keeps bringing in the physical description. I don't like that. I can just hide that trait. Now it's not going to see that physical description. Just keep in mind, if you make some sort of reference, especially since we're dealing with alien, this is an alien, the AI may make up something. Like if it's a human is describing it for the first time and you don't have that description turned on, it could do that. So be careful. Let's see who our quirky little character was. Felix Fixit Chin, self-taught engineering genius. Fights on the side of humans, though his improvements sometimes accidentally help the aliens too. I like that. All right. Alien power core would work perfectly in the coffee maker. We could brew a whole pot in 3.5 seconds. I know Zedekus and me would buy this in a heartbeat. And I love it. I am leaving that in there. The slight risk of destabilization is totally worth it. I agree. All right, so go through, have fun with this, y'all. You're not stuck with what the AI gives you. If you don't like it at all, let's look at shifting ethereal presence. So maybe I'm like, I don't know what I want, but make it creepy. And what is that word? Writers really should not have so much trouble coming up with words. What's that word? What's intimidating? That's what I'm trying to think of. So I just told it make it creepy and intimidating, and I could see what it does there. All right, so I know we're approaching the top of the hour. I'm going to let this finish up, and I am also going to stop the recording, but as a reminder, I will be hanging around so we can go over all of y'all's questions, see if y'all want to experiment some more, and we will talk about the credits. But to everybody watching the recording, thank you very much for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you tomorrow for day 3. Bye, everyone.